Welcome to Over the Falls podcast with myself, Dave Lewis, Med Rendell, and Luke Dukes Jones. This week, we hit a landmark episode of number 20 and wanted to mark the occasion with a big guest. We were lucky enough to spend some time with ex-professional cyclist Gruff Lewis, where we talk about his cycling, what got him into it, the highs, the lows, what his plans are for the future with competing in Ironman races, and we also discussed and listened to some of the family traumas that affected them over the years. We wanted to make number 20 a big one, so we've got a good guest. Welcome to the show, Gruff Lewis.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Good. We obviously want to talk to you about a range of different topics, but the obvious place to start is your cycling.
Yeah.
Is that all right to talk about that straight away?
Yeah.
So, how old were you when you first started?
Well, I had my first road bike when I was 15, and then I was probably like all of you lads here, like just standard mountain bike ripping around the village and stuff when I was before that. But my first road bike, it was a case of my brother was cycling to town, and I was very jealous because town was just like 4 miles away, and it was just an easy way. I just felt a bit of freedom maybe, and got a road bike, quick way of getting to town. And then I probably just, the competitive side started to come out, and then I was doing like up and down segments, and just like at that time it was funny actually because everything's GPS based now and you're recording everything, aren't you? I remember in the kitchen, I had a clock in the kitchen, and I remember before I headed out I looked at the clock. I'd go out and I'd come home and then I'd look at the clock again. It makes me feel so old. Like,
It's completely changed now,
yeah,
hasn't it?
it's changed
Strava
so
and
much.
everything like that, and your watches and...
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's so like raw back then. And then I did it for maybe 18 months, did the with time trials and stuff, and it was every week I wrote down the times on a piece of paper. I've still got that, 2004. And then sort of just, not fizzled out. I sort of had a car, girlfriend. I wasn't a big drinker, to be honest, but maybe like, just standard going through 18, like late teenager. And then when I was like 20 then, broke my ankle playing rugby for ABBA. And then I still had my bike. Used to ride my bike to Clarach when I had like lifeguard shifts and stuff, so I didn't completely leave it. And then a bit of rehab for my ankle, non-impact, got back on the bike, and then just stayed on the bike then. Went back to Ystwyth and never looked back since then, really.
Was there a time when you realised that actually I could get quite good at this? Did you feel like, was there an actual moment, or was it just gradual when you...
So on the time trialing, it was good because I was sort of 16 when I was doing the Ystwyth time trials, and I won one of them in Ystwyth, and I think I had, you look at people and you respect them, and then I guess when you beat them you think, oh, okay, cool. And I always I didn't want to be a sportsman, I wanted to travel the world. I remember telling myself that, and as mad as it was, I remember going in my garden as a kid and praying to be a sportsman, and it was like... It's just mad, really. And then I think it was any sport, I didn't care. I just thought, what am I, like you said, what am I best at? And it was what is in my control. And team sports, obviously, you say, oh, you didn't pass to me and all this. And then with cycling though, it's like, right, you're in control.
Yeah.
And
it's just you.
Yeah, I just went for it then.
Because you're pretty good at other sports as well, aren't you? It wasn't just cycling. Weren't you pretty good at golf as well?
Yeah, I played golf for Wales.
How old were you when you played golf for Wales?
Under 16s. Oh, yeah, my
So
dad...
you did quite a lot when you were young in sporting, I suppose, in different sports.
Yeah. It was probably football, like all of us probably, when we was through school.
Yeah.
I'm not just saying like all of us, but you play football, don't you?
Yeah, football or rugby.
Yeah.
Normally, I suppose. But
yeah. And then
compulsory sport, isn't it?
Yeah, one of my brother's best mates was really good at golf, Johan. And then when I was 13, I remember playing every single day of that summer. And then I just get obsessed with stuff. Like we all get obsessed, don't we? Just like go mad. I just went mad at it.
Yeah.
And that was it then. I never looked back at that. I lived up in Aberystwyth Golf Club, and then I'm still the youngest club champion ever in Aberystwyth Golf Club. I was 15.
Really? That's a good one.
For the scratch competition. And then I was Dyfed captain, it's like go to Dyfed events, and then Celtic Manor every other week. My dad would drive me to Newport, and then And then I played golf for Wales once in Tenby versus Sweden, and I halved my match. I halved my match.
bonkers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think you've got like an addictive personality?
Yeah.
It is in, you know, when you say, because I do know what you're saying, like a lot of kids, you really get into something, but then I guess sometimes it happens the other way where you plead with your parents, like, oh no, I really want to do karate.
Yeah.
And they buy you the kit, and then you're like, yeah, I'm not really interested in that
Yeah.
anymore.
You drop it.
But you kind of sounded like you got quite into each of these individual sports, you know?
Yeah, I definitely did. And I think I had the freedom as well. Like my mum and dad, it's not that they weren't strict, you know, I'd get told my right or my wrongs and stuff, but I was never sort of like locked in my room to do my homework or nothing like that. It was, if I wanted to go and do something, they'd be like, go and do it.
Okay.
And I think I had the freedom then to go a bit obsessive on something that I wanted to do. And it was sport.
Yeah, you obviously enjoyed sport because it's what you naturally sort of gravitated towards, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Do you think you're naturally quite a good athlete? It seems to me like do you know what I mean? Like, do you think you're naturally gifted? Because it seems, even just listen to these few stories that you are, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I've always been a hard worker as well. Like, I've never really thought about it until you bring it up. And like when I was really young, my cousin was really good footballer, Gary Lewis, and he lived just up the lawn. I used to go up to his all the time. And I remember going to Penryn Court football training. I was always that annoying little kid that would come to training because my cousins were there, and like my uncle was like the manager or something, and I'd always be this. I think that helps a lot because you get stretched a lot because like you're playing with adults, and then you go into school, and then you're like, oh, I've just been training with adults, you know, and now and then I used to go running around. I remember asking my dad like to drive behind me when I'd go running, and then go for Sunday lunch. After Sunday lunch, I'd ask him to pull over, and I could run home.
How old were you when you were asking your dad this? Sorry.
Yeah, how old are you?
How old were you then when you were asking him to go behind you in the car?
9 or 10.
That's great. That's young, isn't it?
Yeah.
To be switched,
at that age.
to be switched on, to know that you got this energy and desire to.
And then we
get
used to
rid
go
of it,
around
you
the
know?
block, around Salem, behind me in the Volvo. He had his lights on, I'd run, and then we'd get back, and then I'd be like, I remember asking, can we go again? And I guess it'd be a long time for him, and he'd be like, no.
I'd definitely be saying no. Particularly if I've done it once before. But the reason why I ask that is because they say when you look into it that nature and nurture, they say it's roughly 50% of each. So, you know, it's like 50% of like who you are biologically and your sort of DNA and maybe what you're sort of gifted at. And then obviously the other 50%, the nurture being your sort of surroundings and obviously like a hard-working ethic and stuff. But maybe you've got quite a good initial 50% as well. And then obviously you're hard-working as well. Do you know what I mean?
I think so. Yeah, definitely. I've got like a natural aptitude to something, and maybe to get to the level I wouldn't have to put as much in, or maybe it's a really complex way of looking at it actually. But yeah, no, I love my sport. A lot of people do say that. It's hard to take I find it weird taking compliments. It's like, oh, just say thank you, I guess.
I understand that because I'm similar. I think a lot of men find it hard to take a compliment. I know I find it hard as well, if you know what I mean. But it certainly wasn't a backhanded compliment. I just mean you seem naturally gifted, and then when you add that into like a hard-working attitude, obviously you get results, don't you? So
definitely.
So what about the rest of your family? Were they good at sport as well? Were they like you? Or, I mean, where's this come from? Is I suppose my question.
Yeah, it didn't really come from anywhere really. If anything, like it'd be like Gary, my cousin. Sort of. You know, my mum was like an athletic woman in school. She was like, you know, she said she was athletic, and she was an athletic build. Like, my dad, not so much. You know, in terms of he was always like fit, just generally fit, like just a fit guy. Yeah. But never worked out or nothing. And then my Tristan, my older brother, wasn't. He was musical, and Dav was more into like farming and hands-on mechanics, and then my sister was singing, and then musical again.
I just find it really interesting to sort of work out like how one person in the family has just got that sporting drive and just obviously become successful from it as well. It's just really interesting how it's sort of quite different to the rest of
I know.
the group that you're
you can
with.
Delve into loads of reasons, can't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
How many hours of training were you doing, like at your peak then when you were cycling? What sort of
So I would say I was
'Cause
doing.
you're a pro, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I was professional, paid for to ride my bike and to recover and ride and recover and race.
Yeah.
That was my job. Yeah, and then I would say I was doing around 15, 16, 17,000 miles a year, and then you'd be talking about
It's more than my car, that is.
Hang on.
Yeah,
Yeah, just take a breather on that one. How many? 17,000 miles a year.
yeah,
Yeah, that is more than my car.
and
Easy.
Definitely
Easy.
more than my
Easy
car.
more than my
On my
car.
insurance, what I say anyway, it's definitely more than my
Yeah.
car.
And I don't
3,000.
and I like to
Definitely, yeah.
drive. I like to drive loads of places.
Yeah.
Mate, that's mental.
Yeah,
That's a lot, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. So say you're doing 1,000 miles a month, then you're 250 miles a week, and then you're talking about 15 to 18 hours a week.
How did the professional thing happen? So, like, how old were you? Did anybody approach you? Were you scouted? How was that process, and how old were you?
Good question.
So I was like 21, 22, just had this injury, and I started to get competitive again.
Yeah.
Is that the ankle snap?
Yeah, and then Shelley Childs, Continental Tyres, who works in Cambrian Tyres in Aberystwyth, saw, he trained me. He was like, right, you've got something. And then he was sort of like, right, go to this race. And, he then had, because he's Continental Tyres, he gets a lot of sponsorship requests.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And there was this one team that asked him for tyres for the season. And he said, yeah, can I ask you a favour, though? Can you have a look at this lad? He's doing quite well. And, help me out, I'll help you out. And
That's
then
awesome.
I went down to Pontyclun, it was, Magnus Backstead. He was like a big name
Yeah.
in cycling. He'd married Meg, who was a Welsh Commonwealth athlete. So
Okay.
he had this Welsh connection. And then went for 2 or 3 days in Pontyclun. I did 2 road rides, I think, and then we went to the track in Newport to do like a test. It was
Yeah. What to see if you would sort of pass or fail, whether you could get on the team or whatever.
What was
Yeah.
the test? What did you have to do?
So actually, first of all, right, I had a physiological test, like a ramp test is called, up in the university in Aberystwyth with John Baker in the sports science department, because they wanted just to know like my VO2 max and like my power on the bike.
So just the VO2 max, sorry, just explain what that is real quick. What is that?
So like
your ability to keep oxygenated
yeah,
while you're working out.
And the higher,
really
the
intense.
better, I'm
the
guessing. Is it?
numbers
Or,
like for like elite athletes, the numbers can go from like 60 to 90.
that's the range of what
Of
you'd
an elite
expect to
athlete,
be
yeah.
good. Do you remember
Wow.
what yours was when you were?
Yeah, it was like 78, 79.
So you were definitely
Yeah.
in the upper
You were in the mix
echelon
there.
of that.
Yeah, milligrams per kilogram. Yeah, and they were really happy with that.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Tick.
yeah, and then it was like, right, because you can get like a workhorse, can't you? But then they can't do anything. I could be just sort of doing stupid things on the bike, like wasting my energy, like doing unnecessary stuff.
Okay.
And then they probably could see how I was conducting myself on the bike and how I was measuring my efforts and stuff.
Yeah.
And they were happy. I was very raw. I did a lot of mistakes probably in the peloton and stuff. But they sort of saw, we've not got this guy. We probably thought, well, we're getting our tyres and we'll just give this guy a go.
And what was
Yeah,
that team?
nice.
If you don't mind me asking, what was that team?
That was a mad team. That was called UK Youth. So it had nothing to do that. It wasn't a youth team. And it wasn't necessarily a UK team either. It was called UK Youth because it was a big charity.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which was called UK
It's a
Youth.
misleading
Very
name.
misleading.
Yeah, I'd expect like 5 or 6 guys to turn up who were like in
We're
their
the young
teens.
British guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all British.
because I think a lot of people thought that I was riding for Britain's youth team.
Right,
But
okay.
it was actually just a charity. It had like 4 or 5 Swedes on it.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Okay.
And then it was owned by Nigel Mansell.
No way.
Yeah.
The Tash.
Yeah.
The Formula One
driver.
legend.
Nice.
So someone asked me the other day about sponsorship and how it comes across, and a lot of the times it's about someone that has a lot of money that likes the sport and wants to invest.
Yes.
It's not necessarily about return of investment. It's just about someone that
Yeah,
wants
that
to play.
passion.
Wants to give it a go.
Yeah.
And Nigel's son was a cyclist, you see.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
I think you see that in football and sometimes in Formula One, don't you? Whereas they're not necessarily getting a great return, are they? If anything, they might be hemorrhaging money, but they love it so much, so they
It's
just
like football as well.
plowing money into
Yeah.
it.
So
You
what? If you don't mind me asking, what did the sponsorship at that point include? What was it? Just the tires? So did you have to fork out for the bike?
No. So basically, it was a professional. It was a registered continental team. It's called UCI Continental. So you're registered and you have, you're on like a database as a professional team, and then they have like you have to put a bond to British Cycling. I believe it's like £25,000 just in case something goes wrong, and then. It's like a bond in case something goes wrong. So initially you have to pay that just to get the license, and then you need like cars in the peloton, sponsors, a certain amount of riders. Don't necessarily have to be paid at that level, but like more than half of the riders I would say would have paid. I wasn't being paid actually. So you get given a bike, loads of kit. No, sorry, 2 bikes, training bike, race bike, loads of kit, helmet, glasses, shoes, everything.
Yeah.
You get hotels, training camps.
They do all the maintenance on the bike, I guess, as well. You just
it was good. It was really good.
I bet you were buzzing at
was.
that age because obviously we're all a bit older now, aren't we? And if you're like 21, say 22, and someone's, I don't know, it's pretty cool. That is, it's really good.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first race? What was it? As a pro, then I suppose, was it? When you were sponsored?
It would have been like some early season British classics. It would have been down sort of London way, maybe like the classics, that have been running for years. I think it was like Roy Tame and Wally Gimber, which are like 2 big names that would have maybe passed away in the sport. They just named the race after people.
Nice.
It would have been one of them, and they were like warm up races. And then I did some tours. I did Tour of Ireland, Tour of Sweden. We went on, it was crazy. We did 4 weeks in Gran Canaria. We did
Lovely.
2 2-week camps, that was really built my engine because I was with, proper men. And even though I was a man, they'd had all these miles in their legs.
Oh, yeah. If they're in their 30s and you're in your like young 20s, there's a difference, isn't there?
Yeah, really big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was really, really hanging on a lot of the time. And, it was like really like built, like it tested you as whether you wanted it or not.
It's good though, isn't it? Like playing a
dark
sport
times
with better people.
Yeah.
Like you want to do that, don't you? You don't want to be crushing everybody because you're not going to get any better, really, are you?
No.
You're hanging around with people who are, if anything, a bit better than you.
Yeah.
just a touch, chasing them.
Yeah, a lot better.
Also, I don't understand loads about cycling, so like the only thing I can sort of tie it to is, when you got like the Tour de France, and they seem almost to work as like a pack, and they're like helping each other, and then maybe they help one person in a team by helping the aerodynamics and stuff like that. What sort of races were you doing? Were you doing like, I guess I don't know. Were you doing just individual races where you're racing against everybody, or were you in a team so you like helping each other?
Yeah,
what was it?
If it was like a big race, it would always be there as a team, and then we'd have like an objective. Like you'd look at like the 8 guys that were there, and there'd be like say 2 of the guys that were really going well. You'd notice that from training. They were dropping us on the climb, or they were always beating us in sprints. Yeah. So then it'd always be like you'd work for one of those 2 guys,
and you'd protect them. Yeah, I suppose.
But a lot of the British races are really like nutritional, like the selection gets made because of the terrain. It's very much not controlled. Like the Tour de France is very controlled, because it's a 3-week race. You can't race for 3 weeks. Your body's not, you can't do it. So but with the British races, normally 1-day races, it's like flat out from the gun.
So then would you say that's more individual? You're out to try and beat everybody on those days, are you?
Yeah, it would be get as many people to make the selection and then start thinking, because you could go, right, we're going to have Griff, James, Yanto and what have you, Frederick, we're going to work for you, but then you'd get halfway into the race and there'd be one of you there. So you plan, you have to have like a road captain.
Yeah.
So a guy that makes decisions within the race. So say now that when the race splits on climbs or wind or crashes or what have you, and then you make decisions then for who your leader is.
So do you do that like on the fly as you're cycling? You just chat to each other and have contingency plans sort of things? Wow.
In the big races like Tour of Britain, Tour of Yorkshire, you'd have radios as well.
So you
Wow.
could hear
Yeah,
your
so you
car
could- yeah.
in your ear.
Yeah.
So what was like your forte then? Were you like good at climbs, or you were like an all-round guy? What was your like role in that team?
So UK youth, gosh, I didn't have. If I'm honest with you, it was like 2 years of just suffering really and just getting round. And I showed, I actually won the Welsh Championship in criteria man road racing, and when the terrain made the selection, I would actually make the selections, which was good. So if the racing was hard, my best asset was that I could recover quick.
Okay.
So it was like when there was a lot of like efforts, easy effort, easy effort, easy.
Like hills or
like around here.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That makes sense though.
Yeah, you're either climbing or you're recovering.
Yeah. Okay.
Constant effort, so maybe wasn't as like say out in Belgium.
So like a flat race where you just got to hit a certain amount of watts all the time.
Yeah, maybe I wasn't as good as
Yeah.
like the up and down races I was like kind of good at. My
That's
heart would
incredible.
like really recover quick, and I was able to do another effort.
Yeah.
Maybe like my level wasn't sort of really really high, but it was a little bit lower, but I'd never sort of deteriorate throughout the race. My level would
That's
stay the
interesting.
same.
I wonder what your like what they call it, like when your lactic acid builds up in your muscles. I wonder what sort of like numbers you've got.
Yeah.
Maybe your body naturally sort of gets rid of the lactic acid faster than some other people. Maybe I bet that's.
I think you're right. Yeah.
You said about the terrain, like and stuff around here. I think you said. I think I read it on your Cafe Griff website that you reckon some of the best cycling in the world is around these parts. There's nowhere to hide, is there, around here? Like 2 minutes outside my door, there's a 16% climb.
Yeah.
There's nowhere to hide, is there?
No, well, yesterday we had a really nice day, didn't we? It was like one of the
beautiful.
The hour's just gone, and it was like felt like spring, didn't it? It was like
it was
13.
warm.
Yeah,
It was lovely.
and we went out for a ride and went up Nantamorch, and we went straight out from Talabon up Nantamorch. Didn't see a car. Right up to Nantamorch. There was no wind. The lake was still, and beautiful mountains, Cambrian mountains, and I think that's why I said it was like potentially like some. If we had the weather of Gran Canaria, I wouldn't go away on training camps.
We wouldn't need to.
No, we've got the terrain.
It's very true.
It's just the weather's a bit difficult in the winter because, gosh, in the winter you do 4 or 5 hours here and it's like, I need a few days off.
Yeah.
And then you go out to somewhere warm, it's like 20 degrees and you just recover so quick. No, but I love it around here. You've got the Arch and Elan Valley. You take people out and they're like, wow, you live in a really cool place.
Well, did you do much indoor training as well then? Just out of curiosity, like Zwift and stuff like that. So that's massive now, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it became more so. But I'm glad sort of in my early career that it was get up, maybe not look at the weather. It was like put my kit on. I have to go training and just get out. And it was good. Like it made me like, because you've got to sort of become a good bike handler, and you've got to, if you're racing in cold conditions, the likelihood is like you're going to race in the rain, and you've got to go and train in the rain.
Got to be tough, and
But I do. I'm a big fan of Zwift and stuff. It's great when you got family and you can you can crunch the numbers and just get it done. And it takes like half an hour to put your kit on, doesn't it?
Yeah, and you can easily sort of use it as an excuse, the weather as well. You could look outside and go, nah, not going today.
Yeah.
Whereas like Zwift and things, it's so easy, isn't it?
Yeah, I look at it like you've got like a bank of morale, and I think you've got to like keep that bank. And if you go out in really bad weather loads, it just smashes your morale. And sometimes you just got to keep it. And I think Zwift keeps your morale going.
Yeah.
So it's whatever really. I don't think there's a wrong or right answer. It's just like if it gets you exercise and do it.
What keeps you motivated then, Griff, with like cycling and things? Obviously the love and the passion for it, I take it, is it?
Yeah, things have changed a lot like this year. So it's my first year I'm not part of a professional team. I sort of was racing last year out internationally, and I was like leaving the family, and I felt like I was missing out a bit. And I was, you've got, it's really dangerous sport. Like if you're not willing to take risks, you may as well not be there, because like you got corners and there's like 120 people that want to get to that corner first. You're wearing lycra, you're doing 30 miles per hour.
I've seen some hideous, highlight crashes and stuff.
Yeah, and I was like, you know what? I'm thinking,
Get skinned.
I not seeing the benefits of any because when I was young, I was like, I want to get to the top. I want to get, I was like so hungry, wanted results and stuff. And then not in the end, I still love it. But at that level, you've just got to be really like, you want to move forward and to bigger things and stuff. And I was just happy with what I'd done.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking, yeah, I'm just going to not be pro anymore.
Yeah. That's totally fair.
Yeah.
What do you put in your sort of efforts into now then, if you sort of had your last year of professional cycling? Was it last year or the year before?
Yeah, 2022 I was still pro, and this year now I've decided, you know what, in all honesty, I don't think my level's dropped. Really, I'm 35 and I don't think my level has dropped at all, if I'm totally honest.
Yeah.
And I'm still racing my bike, so it's just, I need sport anyway. So
yeah.
I would, when I stopped racing as a pro, I knew I'd always keep riding and racing,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll keep racing, I think, till I'm, like in maybe
Veteran.
50s. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess
it.
you do see people, obviously,
Yeah.
maybe not competitively, but you see some people up there on the age going road
Yeah.
riding around here,
Yeah.
don't you? They absolutely love it.
I love it. Like, and even if I wasn't racing, I'd ride because I just love the socializing and just
Yeah.
it's cool. Like, you can just,
It's nothing like going out with a bunch of people.
Yeah.
It's
like when you're out in the surf with your mates and stuff. It doesn't matter if you can't make the 15-foot waves. You just go out in 10-foot waves or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It just things. It's like I'm not overthinking it too much. And then I'll race my bike this year. I'll try and get fit for the Welsh Champs.
Yeah.
And then I'll do a bit of triathlon, do a bit of gravel racing, and just
Yeah.
make more like family. Like I'm doing Mallorca half Ironman in May. I
Cool.
booked a week away with the family.
Nice.
So then get talking.
Nice to tie that in.
Yeah, they can see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely.
It's a holiday as well for them, isn't
Yeah.
it? Perfect.
Yeah. Ellen's like, oh yeah, a little half Ironman at the end.
By the way,
No, I bet that's nice to do an Ironman or a half Ironman in the sun.
Yeah.
Or hopefully it'll be in the sun.
Yeah, it'll keep me sane, like, because I
Yeah.
can't be out the pool all day. So
what's the bike like in Mallorca? It's hilly, isn't it?
yeah, you go up the Pygmalion, not all the way. You go up to the Look climb, and then you sort of swing a left down the gorge. But you do like a good climb. I would imagine it's probably as high as like Nantararian, and then you got a good descent, and then most of it's like flat lands then around like Palença and stuff. So it's like flat climb, flat, and then flat run,
But nice and warm
and
and beautiful views.
flat swim to start with.
In the Mediterranean,
Oh.
so probably
Yeah.
quite nice swimming in the Med
Yeah,
as opposed to the Atlantic.
med in the med.
That's it.
The med.
How do you feel about, I don't know why it's popped into my head, how do you feel about e-bikes? Random question.
Oh, mega! Yeah, great. Go for it. Yeah, I think so.
You see
There's nothing
less
wrong
of
with
them on a road bike, I suppose. You probably can get them, can you, on a road bike?
Yeah.
You just see them a lot on mountain bikes, don't you?
Yeah. No, I think it's amazing. I'll be on one day, and hopefully, like, I can just go out with Guitar when he's dropping me. I'll just go, all right, I'm getting an e-bike.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good option.
It's true, isn't
They're
it?
going to
Right.
book one for 10 years, I think.
It must be
Yeah.
getting more and more people out, though.
Exactly.
So my dad was talking about it recently. About
I think it's a
getting
really
one.
good thing.
It's brilliant.
I don't think it's even any easier, really. It just means that you can do stuff that you can't do on a road bike. So it's just like, say you could go up one climb and go, well, I'm going to go further because I've got an engine, a little motor. I'll
Yeah.
go further.
You can
I think
double your
that's
ride
the thing,
almost,
isn't
can't
it?
you?
Yeah.
I think that's exactly it. You're probably going to be just as tired, but you might have covered twice the distance
Yeah, exactly.
of your ride and maybe had twice as much fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think one day I'll probably get one,
Yeah,
even if it's just to
definitely.
hang around with my mates who are fitter than me.
Yeah, I don't like
If you
when
know what I
people sort of overthink it and think, oh, no, I'm not giving up, It's like, it doesn't matter, And
Do the loop twice, do the
yeah.
loop 3 times.
It's like when people want to come and train with me, like they go, I'm not coming with you and then when they come with me, they go, God, that was the most controlled ride I've had in ages. I thought you were going to be sprinting up the climbs, but I'll do that when I'm racing.
Yeah.
I don't need to
No.
prove anything when I'm
Just
training.
putting miles on the road, I
Yeah.
imagine, helps whether you're going pretty slow or not, I guess.
It's just nice having company. Like, it's just anyone. It's just, I'll accommodate your speed, like whatever.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just to back pedal,
Oh, nice.
I slipped right in there, to like your competitive sort of streak. How did you keep, like, how was your mental like state throughout all that? Did you have like massive ups, downs? How did you keep like
Oh, yeah.
good?
I
If
remember,
how did you
like,
keep on the edge?
Yeah, always have an excuse. Like
Mm.
that, I'm not like an excuse for yourself.
Yeah.
I think it was really important. You know, if you've not got an excuse, I know excuses are not good, but they in my instance it was,
Yeah.
you know, if I got dropped, it'd be like, right, and then you go, oh, hang on, yeah, I've slept a bit crap for the last few days, and you know, I did have bad nutrition.
Yeah.
And I've been sat in a car for 2 hours. You've got to tell these to yourself, and then, you know, get to the next one.
Yeah.
But no, gosh, I remember like some of the stuff was internationally, and I remember sitting in the car for ages. Obviously, go to Belgium, do the tunnel, commit a few days to it. Yeah, no, yeah, and you know, usually go to the hotel before, and you know, you get a good prep and stuff, and then in the neutral zone, it's all mad, and you got road furniture, and it's like bollards. Holland and Belgium are really bad for it. Not bad for it. Roads are designed for cars, aren't they?
Yeah,
and then
course,
you got and then I remember crashing in the neutral zone, and my shoe was broken, and then I got into the team car, and I sat in the team car for like 200k. I'd gone over there for like 5k, and then I was all the way back, and then I was just gutted. You know, you'd eaten so much food, and then you know, I remember that, and I was thinking, God, you know, fuels you though for the next one. Good. I think you just can't let it keep you down, and days in the rain where you're just thinking, what am I doing?
Yeah, why am I here at 5 in the morning when it's dark?
Like like chilling at home, just on the fire. Like, what am I doing? You know,
we always do that, don't we? Like, whatever situation we're in, we always think what it would be like to have the opposite of it.
Yeah.
We always do that.
When you got hail in your face and it's
when you're hungry, you imagine all the food in the world.
But it's like the grind, they call it, isn't it? And then the good times, you've got to go through the grind, and then the good times outweigh the grind. Yeah. And it's like, you look at pictures then, like, oh, sunny day, hands in the air, yes, and then you just focus on that. I remember when I was training in the winter, I was like on my own, like in the middle of nowhere, and I was like, right, I'm going to practice what I do now if I won. That was a classic thing I do.
Visualization, I suppose.
Yeah.
Like, lots of people do it, don't they?
Yeah. Yeah, and like putting your hands up, and yeah, it's good.
So you talk about quite a low point there, but any particular highlights, any like ones that you really remember?
Yeah, my first Welsh championship was really high, like the road race championship. That was a massive high.
So how long was that? What distance was that?
That would have been about sort of 80 mile.
Okay.
Yeah, the venue of the Welsh championship changes, and that was in like the valleys, down sort of like Bridgend way, and then we just dipped into the valley a bit, like Maes Teg or something around there, that way, and. That was a really good high. And then I remember going in Sweden then and going straight into a motorbike marshal and flipping up and landing on my back, and my bike was in half.
Honestly,
stuff like that was
it's so dangerous, isn't it?
Yeah, and then
very quick as well.
Yeah,
quick to go wrong.
Yeah, and then I remember out in France, I raced. Actually, the race was on last week, and I messaged my mate who was racing it. It was called La Roue Tourangelle, the Wheel of Tourangelle. It was in a place called Tours, which is north of Paris.
Okay.
No, south of Paris, just south of Paris. And then I remember my plan was to go and see my mum after. So the team came out, we raced there, and then I was going to go and catch the train from Tours down to Bergerac, I guess. And I didn't have much freedom, but the guy was looking at all my coaching and my numbers, and there's obviously like algorithms to your training and to your form, and he predicted that I'd go well in this race. So whether he said that to get my mind going, but either way, I had good legs, and I had this little punchy berg in it. It was like a bit like around here, and I was doing well, and I was in the front group, and then after this climb, there was like this crosswind section. We're in like one line. It was like a classic French road. You've got the road, and then it would drop off into a bit of a gutter. And one guy was just like so far to the right of the road. He went in the gutter. There was about 3 wheels in front of me, and he couldn't get out. And then we just went all over each other.
Like a big pile
yeah,
sort of thing. Yeah,
and I snapped my bike in half.
Fuming. God. And you were going well as well.
And I just went over the top, and I landed like that, and I just landed like that on my back, and I didn't move, and I didn't have a mark on me.
No, you came out pretty much unscathed.
And then I went caught the train to my mum's, and I remember I was lying on the sofa like that watching TV. I went to move, and my back just went poof, like a rock. I had this massive spasm. I was in bed then. I was like on muscle relaxants
like an
and
S.
stuff. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, it's just weird. Crashes are just so random. Like you can be like really slow and just land really awkward, or you can be going really fast in the rain and just slide and just get away with it. It's just
luck of the draw, I guess.
Yeah,
isn't it?
luck of the draw.
I guess so. You mentioned like muscle relaxants there, so it's just like twigged my brain now. In cycling, it seems like there's sort of like a big doping sort of problem in cycling, or at least it seems to like a novice person like me who doesn't really know anything about it. And if you sort of agree that there is a problem, how far from the top sort of down do you think there's issues in doping, if there is at all in cycling?
Yeah, so British cycling, on the British scene, like the domestic professional scene, I never saw doping. I was you know, there's few rumours, maybe it was like a few teammates, but I never saw it. And I'm pretty sure it didn't happen in like teams I was in. Like, number one, like we didn't have doctors. You got to know what you're doing. Like back in the old day, they didn't know what they're doing. That's why people were keeling over dead on the side of the road, like Tom Simpson and stuff. Like they thought you had to take a highs and lows, so they were like drinking alcohol and like taking like amphetamines. They were just doing these crazy stuff. Yeah,
really mad combos.
They thought they had to like take highs and lows and stuff. And then obviously EPO period was huge, like Lance Armstrong period. For sure, it still goes on. People are still getting caught. And there's obviously the doctors in the team are very sophisticated, and maybe they're doing stuff that are not being tested by now. So I was fortunate never to have had to dope or never saw it. And to be honest with you, to compete on the British level, 1 day racing, you know what I was saying about like 3-week racing and stuff? You didn't need that sort of the testosterone and what have you to recover really fast because you had like a week off. But, you know, I've read all the books, like Paul Kimmage's, like David Miller's book, Lance's book. I sort of know what went on.
It's just cheating, isn't it? It's just flat out cheating.
Thing is, though, I think so many people were cheating, though.
It's a level playing field, then, isn't it?
Yeah, so there was so
it is an awkward one.
You of course were cheating, but when you lose the title of the Tour de France because you're doped, but they can't hand it down to anyone else because the next top 20 are all doped as well.
Yeah, I think you had to go to 18, I read before. They had to go to about 18 position, and that was a maybe.
Yeah.
They didn't even know if number 18 had maybe had a transfusion or whatever, EPO.
I guess that's why it took Lance Armstrong so long to sort of say, yeah, I was doing it. But he didn't really apologise either, because I guess he knew everybody else was doing it, but he didn't want to throw everybody else under the bus.
I think Lance came from such a high level from America, and he came to Europe, and he went from like beating everyone to getting dropped, and he's like, what's going on?
Well, he had cancer as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he had cancer, but I think it was partly because the drugs he did fed the cancer.
No.
It made it grow really fast.
Is that the EPO or other things that he might have been doing?
Testosterone and stuff.
Yeah.
He was testicular cancer.
Yeah.
So he was messing around with his body a lot.
Yeah.
But either way, like, you know, he's a human being, isn't he? And, you know, I've got a picture of him where he's in his hospital bed with no hair, and, you know, he's had all these operations, and yeah, gosh, it was amazing that he came back from it.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and he's still alright today, is he? I'm guessing. I don't know.
He went into triathlons after, didn't he?
Yeah,
he came back to like.
Yeah, he's from triathlon, and then then into cycling, and then he retired, and then I think it was 2012. It all went crazy with Oprah, and triathlon banned him as well. Really tough for him. I'm not saying like the problem with Lance is that not only was he doping like everyone else, it was that he was a bully.
Right.
He was a real big bully in the peloton and to his teammates, and it was like, you either dope or you're out of my team, and like ethically it was really bad in that way. And he like bullied a lot of like the Swanier, Emma, her name was Emma something, from Ireland, and she's the one that sort of put him in it in the end.
She blew the whistle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of bullying going on.
Whoa. Is there much politics involved? You know, like with the teams, is there much politics involved within the team and then against other teams as well? Obviously, it's a competitive environment, but like, does that come out when you're cycling as well?
I think like when I started earning money from cycling, it was like all the teammates were on different money and no one knew what money you were on, and then it would come end of the season and like you're renewing contracts and you don't know how much to ask for. You hear like hearsay of someone else is on a load of money and you think you're better than him, and then that's a bit crap. I wish it was like really transparent and maybe everyone, because it's weird, isn't it? Because when you're earning loads of money, you don't need it because you're this really good rider, and then the younger riders, like when I was like starting, I was struggling to get to the races. Even though I was on a professional team, I could hardly afford to get to the races, and that's when I needed a small wage. Whereas the guys on the top end riders are getting massive amount of money, you know.
Wow.
Politics wise, I guess the guys that seek the sponsorship now have got a lot of like the return of investment behind closed doors. You know, as a rider, you don't want to hear of that. You've got like to concentrate on the race and to get the results that can please the sponsors. Once you start having like negative stuff in your mind, you're not going to perform. So you really need good managers really to sort of keep that away. And because like the teams that have fun normally are the ones that do well. There's a lot. It's tough now, like to get sponsors. Like disposable cash is really hard to come by.
Bet it is now.
Cuts everywhere, isn't it? I suppose, including sport and everything else. So yeah.
I got to ask, what was that like coming through ABBA when you were doing it was Tour of Britain, wasn't it?
Yeah, Tour of Britain.
I've got to ask.
Yeah, like I couldn't believe how like. It sounds a bit like cheesy and stuff, like the power of the mind, because Shelley told me before it was announced that the Tour of Britain stage would be coming through ABBA, and I was still on a professional team that would most likely be riding the Tour of Britain. And once I heard that, because I'd had to get on, it was 2021, and through COVID and stuff, I just sort of started riding the wave of just being like, you know, a pro rider, not really wanting to progress or just not go 100%. But then once I heard that, I really went for it that year then.
Nice.
I wanted to be on the team. And I just thought to myself, God, imagine getting in the break that day. And then I heard it was going through Borth and there was a sprint. And I was like, oh, imagine being in the break and winning the sprint in Borth. And then because with the breakaway, it's like the riders that get let to go ahead, and then for the race to catch it up, and that's how races are organised, because you can't race all day, but if you let people go and then you catch them up and then you race for the finish, rather than it being all unorganised and everyone racing for the whole 200 kilometres. That's just the way of organising the race. You let the break goes, picks up intermediate stuff. Every now and again the break will stay away if they sort of hold their energy back, get strong riders in and stuff. But there's a lot of people that want to get in that break. There's like 30-40% of the peloton, so it's not easy. And then I got in the break.
Nice.
I was like, right, that's done. And then I was coming down, just past here now, and I said, I'll show you the way into town because it's a bit technical and you go past the station. And then I thought I'd gain us a few seconds by just taking the corners well. And I couldn't believe it. Like, you know, gosh, it was a good day, and it felt in my own way that I was like, even though they felt I was giving, you know, it was just felt like, you know, I was just giving the town back something. But,
awesome,
but they sort of really appreciated me being there then. And then at Penglais Hill, it was like a lot of people. And then my dad was funny. He we went around the Borth loop. He watched me in Llandre, and then he buzzed over then to Taliesin and watched me again.
Nice.
And then up the Great Orme where it finished, Gito was there. So it was a big day. Like, you look at it on the map and you go, gosh, Aberystwyth on to the Great Orme.
Where's Great Orme? Llandudno?
Yeah.
Was that where we finished?
Yeah, it was the Queen stage. It was a really long.
Monster.
Really
massive. How many miles is that?
It was 230k. It was like 140 mile.
Jeez.
We averaged 26 miles per hour.
No way, for the whole,
nice.
and like not just flat either.
It was like
So-
5.25 hours. It'd take
Yeah.
you 3 or 4 hours to drive, wouldn't it?
Oh my god.
Whatever cycle I do on my sort of gravelly bike, I always try and average at least 10 miles an hour, and I'm absolutely spent. Like,
I bet.
if I get back and I'm like, the next day I'll load up Strava or whatever and I'll check it, I'll be like, yes, 11 miles an hour, yes. But then I can't walk for like 2 days.
How did you end up doing a bit of commentating?
No, we didn't know about that.
Being not good enough to say no that I'm riding the Tour de France, and being that guy that just hasn't got time, and being good enough that I was sort of domestic pro and I spoke Welsh basically.
Yeah.
You know, I was approachable, I was at a decent level, and I spoke Welsh, and unfortunately there's not loads that do. And
Did you like apply, or did you like how did the process happen?
no, I think it was Matt Ward. He lives in Corris. He sort of does a lot of run races through Coed and Brenning, and he does a lot of tannoid work on the finish lines and stuff.
Ah, right, yeah.
Matt, he's a
Yeah.
lovely bloke, and he's within the industry and knows some people and suggested me. And then I just had the producer call me on a whim and just said, do you want to do some commentating work? And, you know, they pay a good day rate. And I was just like, yeah, this will support my cycling.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, it was just like, yes, this means I can do less work up the uni or whatever I was doing and concentrate more on cycling. It was just like a self-sponsorship for myself, really.
Great, that's really
Yeah.
good. You do something you enjoy as well.
Yeah.
And what type of races were you sort of commentating on, if you know what I mean?
It was mainly the Tour de France.
Yeah, amazing.
Through the Tinopolis studios in Llanelli.
Yes.
So it's like living in a hotel down in Llanelli.
Yeah.
And it's good training. Go up like the Black Mountains and stuff, Llandelo and stuff. It's really good. And I've got some friends down there, so go like around the Gower and stuff. It's mega.
Yeah.
You get some good recovery, eat well there. And Sunset and Vine, Tinopolis, they always look after me really well. And then Wyn Griffith, who is a really good commentator who commentates on the Royal Welsh and stuff. He like puts his hand to anything Welsh.
Yeah.
And he's just such an amazing like hybrid. And then he like took me under his wing a bit, and like every time I'd commentate, he'd text me and say, oh, you said this, or you make a really good point and then you go on too much after it, you mumble a bit, or you go a lot. Like, and you just gotta take these things.
He was just trying to help you, wasn't he?
Oh,
I suppose?
yeah, that's what I'm
Isn't it?
saying.
Yeah, that speech.
He really helped me, like,
Yeah.
yeah. And then because like he was so good, I just listened to him, and then listening to Radio Cymru all the time. Small things like that,
Picking up
honestly.
all those-
Yeah, pick up little tips.
Yeah.
So were you watching? You said it was in like Llanelli. Were you like watching like a TV of the, and then you're like commentating on it or something? Is that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm commentating on live pictures.
Yeah.
And you sort of can't see me as we are now if you were like listening to us on a podcast.
Yeah.
But then I've done 2 years on location now, so I'm
Yeah.
going out again now. There's the Tour de France starts in Bilbao, and then
Bilbao, Spain.
yeah, and then out to the Alps then.
So you're
Cool,
going
so-
out there.
Yeah,
And you're commentating
what a
for S4C
yeah,
out there.
yeah.
That's cool. Do you have to learn, a silly question, I guess you do. Do you have to know all the riders' names and stuff? Or like as many as you can remember?
Yeah, I'm obsessed anyway.
Yeah, I was just going to say, yeah.
Because even in a football game, you think watching a football game, you got 22 people that you got to name, well, and some subs on the bench. I'd probably struggle with that.
Yeah.
And everything in.
Michael.
Who's this guy now?
It's like the thing.
Nigel Winterburn passes it to Steve Bold.
Honestly, like it's the best because say like whatever you're massively into, like surf, UFC.
Yeah, I guess if it's something you're
Music.
passionate about.
Yeah.
You just get to vomit words
Yeah.
all day
Yeah.
about
It's
it,
just
get paid, and
I can't imagine what
go and
that's
watch
like.
it.
That's
Yeah.
just like your passion.
Yeah.
You're getting
Yeah.
paid.
Yeah.
What a dream.
You're travelling.
Yeah,
It's like a dream job, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is the dream because you've done loads of
Yeah.
travelling with your cycling and now
Yeah.
with commentating.
yeah,
It's good.
yeah, yeah. I am lucky in that way, you know.
Good commentary is really good. It helps.
Yeah.
You know, you watch a rugby game and you know who's commentating, like Butler
Oh,
back in the day.
yeah.
I never take
It's
it for
like voice.
granted though. I'm like every winter, I'm just sort of like, oh, I hope they ask me again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then people say, well, you're good. You know, don't be silly. They're lucky to have you. But I don't know, you're always like a little bit insecure, aren't you?
I suppose that's the industry though, isn't it? Like media, there's always someone coming through, or someone's like, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
You touched on like eating quite well and things. Like, what's your diet, and are you strict?
So like my best years, I remember looking back and I was so strict. Yeah, I remember buying like loads of organic basmati rice. I'd have sort of porridge every breakfast with like my banana, like chia seeds and flax seeds.
Was that did you come up with that?
Yeah,
diet yourself?
yeah. It was all.
You didn't have like a nutritionalist or someone sort of saying you've got to eat this.
No, I just just got reading basically, and like forums, and just getting the good stuff in me, and just realizing that basically nutritional is complex as well, because like as you dive into sort of ultra endurance, things can change in terms of fueling and energy sources and stuff. And I think every energy source has its place, whether you're sort of a fat burner or a big like carbohydrates user. You can look at it and have respect for whatever diet, you know what I mean? But when you're doing massively explosive high energy exercises, like in my opinion, like it was very much carbohydrate I was eating a lot of, and then recovering with like good proteins, good fats.
Nice.
With like the longer races, then like you've done an Ironman, we'll talk about that in a sec as well, but like and you said you're doing a half in May in Mallorca. Like what's like your nutritional plan for those types of races? I mean, I'm quite interested in this subject. So is in like, what do you eat in the morning and what are you eating throughout the day to get you to that finish line?
Yeah, again, that's been like a learning process for me with the movement of your gut and stuff while you're running, and sort of how to come out the water. And there's a lot of different like motions that your body goes through in an event like that, and you've got to sort of help your body, and give it the best chance of absorbing like calories and stuff. So obviously, you're feeling well a few days prior, and the week leading into giving your body to sort of recover and just not do anything wrong and don't do anything crazy. It's just like ticking over, going through the motions, trying to sleep, like not overthinking about the event itself. And then you sort of just get loads of carbs in the day before. But the problem is, like, don't do anything that you weren't doing in your training. A lot of people start doing stuff and then they'll be like, right, I'm going to take loads of these electrolyte tabs now. And it's like, well, hang on, were you doing that in your training? Like, just keep it really basic and eat the stuff that you did. Try and adjust like your body clock, because the event, Dave, you did Ironman Wales and you're in the sea at 7 a.m. Try and like, if you're a good man in the morning, I'm not so good, so I was like trying to wind back my clock so that I was able to sort of get my body ready to compete at that time in the morning. So then you're up at like 4:30 having a big breakfast. And yeah, I didn't sort of measure my breakfast. It was just eat a big bowl of porridge, bananas, water, your bag's ready, get to the start line, and hopefully you go to the toilet and do the business. And then but that happens out there anyway. You need to do toilet stops and stuff. But I think I did a few mistakes. I took some nutrition on from the side of the road, like in the aid stations that I hadn't trained on. I think that upset my stomach a bit. The
drinks or gels? What, you haven't mentioned gels yet. I'm intrigued about where you...
I think where I went wrong was on the run, for sure. I took on some Red Bull and some Gatorade and I hadn't trained on that. And then I was in the Portaloo 3 times.
Oh, okay.
But then again, a lot are saying that the water was quite dirty at that time with sewage. And one person, a pro, had like a pesticide that took him a few months to get over.
No.
Yeah.
What, from an aid station or
from the sea?
From the sea.
Oh, sorry, from the sea.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. So that was, there was a few. Yeah, whatever, what I mean. We're out in the sea, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think at the time it wasn't. It's at its cleanest.
Okay, yeah. You had it quite choppy as well, I think, didn't you?
Yeah.
The water was quite a bit rough that year.
Luckily, boys, you helped me there.
Yeah, that probably wouldn't have phased you
Yeah.
anywhere near as much as it would have phased some other competitors. Because I guess if you've never done any sort of even sea swimming or surfing or anything like that, particularly in the Atlantic. Probably quite daunting, wouldn't it? Not for you, but for other people maybe.
So two rivers hitting trap anytime it rains.
Yeah.
So people panic as well, though. It was choppy, but the crowds in the water is quite intimidating as well.
Oh, I bet.
Because you're getting kicked, you're getting hit. Maybe people's goggles coming off, and and you know what it's like when you're going around with boys. Everyone it pinches in. Well, it's the same with cycling, obviously. Everyone pinches in, doesn't it? And it's quite intimidating.
I bet
it is. And I remember the first time we did a triathlon, and it was like I don't know how many people were swimming. It was around a lake, maybe 100 people on this little lake. I had a panic.
Yeah.
And I'm genuinely like really confident in water. Like been surfing since I was like 14.
Yeah.
But I had to calm myself down. I was like I started like really breathing hard and. Yeah, it's it affects different people. And
they'll just run over you, hey?
Well, yeah, because a lot of these, like I was racing my own race, but there's people racing, aren't there? You know, and like yourself, you want to get a good time.
Yeah, happens to pros, and it can happen at any time. I think your body's going from land-based to sea, isn't it? And it's making a lot of adjustments, you know what I mean? Your body's going from standing to horizontal. You're hitting something really cold, and you're trying to push yourself. It's like it's loads of stuff happening, and all of a sudden, if your breath goes, you can't breathe like you are when you're on land, can you? You're taking in a load of water and stuff, and then it's just like, and then obviously it happens to loads of people that go into panic attacks then. And it's about, maybe like, going in the water before, getting a bit of acclimatization to what's coming, and then maybe not going quite, you gotta, you can breathe like every 5, every 7, every 2, every 3. I guess it's about taking a lot of breaths on that initial one. So it's like, and then getting your way into it. I'm a novice, like, but yeah.
Is triathlon your thing now then? Is this what you're going for?
Yeah, I loved Ironman Wales. Yeah. And I don't know, like someone asked me today, are you going to try and go for your pro card and stuff? I was like, I don't know yet. I don't even know if I want to do that amount of training and stuff. I just want to go and see how it goes, and then try and put together a good event and try and do a good swim and a good run as well, because I think I was lacking a little bit on them. Obviously, my bike was good, and I just love pushing myself, and it just makes me feel good, like. Yeah,
a pro
basically.
card, is that if you're a professional at doing Ironman or at
yeah, there's a few ways of qualifying. I think if you get within sort of 5% of the winning pro at an event, so say like Ironman Wales, the guy that won had 9 hours for argument's sake,
right? Okay.
And then then you break that down into minutes and say like you were like 20 minutes behind, you were sort of within 5% of the winner.
Got you.
You'd become good enough to get a pro card.
Right.
And what would that pro card get you? Yeah, exactly. Like what's the difference? Do you know what I mean?
Not much, mate. It's like you got to pay for it, which is like about £1,000
for this pro card.
Yeah, and then but then you get you can get free entry into races.
Okay.
Right. And then you can win prize money. That's the big one.
Oh, okay.
Right. So if you do well at the event, you can maybe pick up prizes, etc.
So say your last
isn't it? Like you can pull your hammy or
on a thing that's about 10 hours.
Swimming to a cliff.
10 hours plus, isn't it? It's like.
But then you go chasing events. Then you see.
Yeah.
You go like try and do 5 or 6 Ironman. You get some endorsements from like sponsors and stuff, and they'll give you money and stuff, and then. The proper at the pinnacle of the sport, they do well, but then I guess a bit like cycling, everyone else is sort of clutching at straws and sort of trying to make a livable wage from it. But again, in that case, you've got to love it, I guess. And then it's like any sport, isn't it? It's like any sport is hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like when people go, my sport's the hardest. My sport's the hardest. It's not. Like they're all hard.
Yeah. And you get people who want it probably just as much as you do, and then what separates the rest is talent, etc. How far you're willing to go and things like that. Got a question about the Ironman as we're talking about it as well. What would you give? Like for say somebody who's coming up to do their first Ironman or maybe their first half Ironman, like my barber Jamie, shout out to Demon Barbers, he's going to do a half Ironman.
What? Really?
Yeah,
he's doing Swansea.
He's going to do Swansea.
Yeah.
And what advice would you give people who are going for their first, whether it be a half or a full one? Is there like some good advice that you can give people?
I think obviously, you know, just don't put pressure on yourself. Like, don't compare yourself to what other people are doing. If you've got half an hour, 45 minutes to do, don't look at it as if I'm not going to bother doing half an hour because he's just done 3 hours. Like, just do your half an hour, because 7 times half an hour is 3.5 hours, and it's better than doing nothing in a week.
Yeah.
Just always do your little bit. And yeah, just don't let it, like, the occasion carries you a lot. Don't think that you can't ride your bike for 4 hours but on the day. Then, like, believe me, like, the occasion carries you a lot. The adrenaline, people around you, time goes faster, you know what I mean? So don't, like, beat yourself up if you think you can't do it in training. Just go there and just think, what's the worst that can happen? Don't be afraid to say your goals and stuff, and if you fail, doesn't matter, you know, like, you tried. And like they say in Ironman Wales on the tannoy, they say the biggest thing is that you're here now and you've put yourself here. And yeah, you know, don't put loads of pressure on yourself, and get your regular training in. Try and balance 3 sports, obviously. Don't think that every session needs to be a hard one. I'd say is really important. Don't think that you need to smash yourself all the time, because in order for you to go to the next level, you need to do the slow stuff. You know, I see a lot of people going out and doing the same workout and just feeling like death at the end of big ball of sweat and stuff. You don't need to feel like that all the time. Maybe do 1 or 2 of them a week, and then, you know, it's like the polarized training is 80-20, 80% endurance, 80% aerobic, 20% anaerobic. That's a very general thing that a lot of endurance people do, is polarized training, 80-20.
How do you mean? I'm not in this world sort of thing, but how do you mean 80-20?
80-20, so it's like 80% of like sustainable effort. So like sustainable, so like, you know, you could go and walk Cadair Idris, that's sustainable effort.
As in, but
if you started sprinting up Cadair Idris, that's an unsustainable effort.
Right, so the 20% is the really hard effort, and the 80% is the steady effort, or whatever you want. Right, okay.
Wouldn't make it past those steps at the start, honestly. Those steps I would just have a heart attack.
Oh my god, those steps are so tough.
Bit of scrambling as well.
We did that one year, didn't we? Was it? Yeah. And it was just like
your thighs,
legs,
your thighs are
instantly.
Like, what is happening to me?
Isn't it?
Yeah,
incredible.
Good advice.
So Cafe Griff, you got a triathlon club going there now,
Yeah.
How's that going?
It's good. I basically said at the start, you know, don't expect much. I do so much, but what I wanted to do was, I went to Ironman Wales, and it was definitely 10 people from Aberystwyth there, all in different kit. And then you look at these communities that other clubs create, like especially South Wales.
That's unbelievable, mate.
Yeah.
Well, they've all got the same bib on or something.
Huge clubs.
Yeah.
Like Attack and like, is it the pink one as well? Crap Try.
Yeah,
all
that's it.
Ones.
Cardiff, Pembroke Try, and Ron the Try in green. You know, Dycole's got a good thing going in Cardigan with DC.
Oh yeah.
And I just thought, well, hang on, I've got the kit design anyway from the cycling stuff. Everything good doesn't need massive amount of money, does it? Just, we've got the people, we've got loads of experience from, you know, people at the uni that have been doing Ironmans for the last 10 years, and I just thought,
group them all together, sort of thing.
Yeah, and that's it. I've had 2 nights over the winter now where we've all got together and had a few guests in and stuff, and through the summer now, you know, we'll get the sea swimming going, and I've been in, you know, quite a few of them actually have started coming to the Sunday rides as well.
Nice.
I guess the riding part is the bit that I can give loads to, isn't it? And then I want to rope other people in. I'm not a swimming expert, I'm not a running expert, I'm not a triathlon expert, but they're about, and I just sort of said, like, come on, like, come and get together. And then hopefully now this year we'll have, there's a lot of people in the kit. I think I've got like a dozen members now. So
who are going to be doing events or
yeah. I've joined British Triathlon and got the license and stuff.
Oh, that's cool. That's really good. I didn't know you were doing that, really.
Yeah,
that's good.
And like, how's the cafe going? Like, what in Telebond? How's that all going?
Yeah, cafe was a fully functional cafe.
Yeah,
and then it was like 15 months down the line, COVID came and closed me up. and I just thought, so it was a lot of times where the government was saying you can open, you can close, you can open, you can do a bit, and then I didn't bother with that. I was closed because, like, all due respect to my dad and stuff, with COVID, it was quite a scary thing that, you know, people were worrying about, and I didn't want the one that would bring COVID for my dad to catch or something like that.
Yeah.
So I was like, it's closed, and then people were asking me, obviously, like, everyone had time on their hands, didn't they? So it's like, I'm going to ride my bike, and I was like, can you repair my bike? That's been in the garage. And some people were saying, can you get me a new bike? And I was like, right, loads of people have asked me for bikes, yeah. And then I thought, I just went and got a dealership.
Turned it into sort of like a business, I suppose. I know you had a business anyway, but it was more of a cafe, I suppose, isn't it? So, yeah.
You know, it's, with me, like, we've spoken about my commentary and my family, and, you know, I'm here, there and everywhere, and I even compete in myself. It's hard for me then to be open all the time, and so the cycling side of it is like appointment only, and people inquire a lot, and that's something that's manageable for me on my own. Without the massive pressure of employing someone, which for me is like quite daunting, because I'm just trying to get by myself, to be honest with you.
Like having someone else's mortgage on your shoulders, isn't it, when you employ people?
So it's good. People are supporting me with the bike side of stuff.
Nice.
And I'm able to do everything else.
That's perfect.
All
that's
works
perfect.
in line with each other as well, then, isn't it? What do you do for recovery and things, like with your cycling, triathlon?
So like I'm starting, my body's actually able to do a bit more now. Running is something that, like, God, you've just got to nurture in there. And it's like, I know it's like you add in your 5-10 minutes every week and stuff. I'm able to run now and do not feel like buckled the next day. Swimming is always, you know, a nice non-impact sport again, like cycling. So I actually find swimming is really good for my recovery, because like my back is quite one that gets sort of tied up a bit, and I feel like when I swim, everything opens up a bit, and I feel just better if I'm swimming.
I totally agree. Swimming it just loosens everything up, doesn't it?
I guess it's just like being careful with like back-to-back sessions. If I do a big run, I'll leave it for a few days before my next run and sort of juggle the swimming in between, because running will buckle me a bit, and then I'll do my swim and feel good again, and then I'll do a bike ride or something and then go back to the run. But now I'm feeling like my body is able to run a bit more now.
Nice.
It's just training all the ligaments and stuff to be able to put up with that needs. But yeah, you know, to be honest with you, I'm not a big supplement wise. I've always sort of taken my like EPA and DHA and like fish oils and all the healthy stuff for like your heart, your nails, your skin and all of that. There's a lot of unnecessary supplements that people take probably. Iron was always a good one for me as well, sort of lightheaded, and ferrous sulfate was always good for me. And then you combine that with stuff like vitamin C and timing of nutrition. Like caffeine can affect a lot of supplements as well, so supplementing things away from when you're having caffeine in the morning is a good tip.
What do you mean by that? So just leaving it.
So like for instance, vitamin C absorption is hampered by caffeine. So say now you're having a lot of caffeine in the morning and your vitamin C, your body wouldn't be able to absorb the vitamin C as well. So if you take it out later in the day where you've not had caffeine for like 6 or 7 hours, it gives your body better absorption.
So when you're having a coffee and an orange juice in like a hotel and cleaning your teeth at the same time, that's horrible. So that's probably not too good. If you're having a coffee and an orange juice at the same time.
No. Doesn't taste too good either, does it, at times?
No, it doesn't matter, does it? It gets very thin, and it doesn't. A lot of things don't matter. But these are the sort of mad things that mattered to me when I was trying to be the best.
No, exactly.
No, I think you've got
little things, isn't it?
You've got to be obsessive, haven't you, in a way? Or I imagine, not that I've been at the top of any sort of sport, but like I imagine you've got to be pretty obsessed to sort of try and rise against all of these people who've got the same goal as you, and they're probably putting in the same amount of effort.
And it's hemoglobin as well. Like, so the biggest thing for cycling is hemoglobin. It's like carrying oxygen around
your body.
And that's why people took EPO. You know, it creates more hemoglobin in your body. And you know, iron and vitamin C are massive factors into creating
the fuel,
natural hemoglobin.
I'm just going to go back to the doping thing again quickly. doping, you're to EPO, yeah? Is that what you're saying?
EPO, yeah.
EPO. What have I got the blood transfusion thing for then? I'm getting confused here.
So erythropoietin is like what people take, like if they have cancer or something. It's a synthetic your body creates it from a chemical.
Like
that is made in a lab.
Okay.
Whereas blood transfusion is it's more natural in the way, but you're taking away your own blood. Your body replaces it, and then you add it again. So you've got. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you put your own
Fresh
blood back in.
The effect is doubled.
But then what they can see is there's a ratio in your body of newly produced oxygenated cells, and when you add, so microdosing is when you're adding an amount where people cannot, it's not enough for people to detect that there's a weird amount in your body. But when the ratio is off, and you have a sample and you get WADA UCAD tested, and they see that there's the ratio is just wrong because you've taken your blood out and you've given yourself a transfusion. That's how they pick up on it then. It's not because you've got an alien product in your body. It's just like that you've got. So then what you get is a blood passport. So you get tested, and then you get a natural, like your Dave Lewis's normal line. And then if you get one that's up here, something, it's just not.
They call you in.
It's going to flag. While we're talking about the drug stuff as well, I remember reading an article about something where, like asthma drugs, so like inhalers and things like that. I remember reading before, that it wasn't just cycling, it was like a football team as well, where it was something crazy, like this professional football team, 70% of the football team had asthma, or they had asthma. Because they reckon it, like, I remember this. I don't know, like it helped them somehow with the potentially, it might have been steroids with the inhaler in your lungs or something. Like, so
that's it. You basically nailed it. I think it's salbutamol, isn't it? Chris Froome got done for it, and it's like he had an amount in his body that was basically not doable through an inhaler.
He would have had to like add 20 of them or something.
So I don't know the ins and outs of that too much. I don't know whether you can put it through sort of syringe or whatever. I don't know. But he had loads of it in salbutamol.
They're always looking for an edge though, aren't you, I suppose? Or particularly if you're going to be alongside people who are going to be willing to go.
Placebo, a lot of it as well. Like you take an inhaler, you feel like, I've just taken something. It's like, you're asking me, can I have a puff of that or something? And then in your head, you've taken something, whereas it probably hasn't done anything.
No, two's up on that inhaler. You briefly mentioned family before. How close are you with your family? And also you mentioned that your mum, she lives in France. So like, how close are you to like your sister, your brother, your mum who lives away, not
that. Sorry, I speak to my mum probably every day, and my sister. My brother's not every day, no. My dad, obviously, I speak to him every day. Like, as a family, we were really close being brought up. Like, we had mega childhood, and like we had 2 brothers and a sister. My mum and dad were together until I was 17. I remember having my first car.
Split up when you were 17 then?
My mum and dad split up when I was 17, and then my mum met someone new, and it was like 6 months. Within 6 months, she was gone to France.
Really? It was that quick? I didn't realise that.
That was tough. That was,
how did you take that? I imagine not great, but do you remember how it affected you when you were 17 when your parents split up?
Yeah, I don't know. It was like, unfortunately, like, probably not a bad answer, but I don't know, like, because I was old enough, wasn't I? Just about
17
to understand stuff.
Yeah. And I guess I was in that sort of, I don't know, it's affecting my sister. She was 13. Yeah, that was more. She was the only girl, wasn't she? And then I had my brothers, and maybe they were older than me as well.
Ah, right, okay, yeah.
And sort of just got on with it, I know it sounds a boring answer, but I had my independence in my car.
Yeah, true, when you're 17.
And then I had my little job. I was going to college in Cardigan, doing my A-levels, and I just
Still focused on that.
Yeah, just got, as long as my mum and dad were all right, I think.
Yeah.
And then I think it hit my, it was harder for my dad because he didn't find someone else at the time.
Yeah.
And he didn't, no doubt, he still loved my mum. Like, yeah.
Yeah,
God.
yeah, but that was different. And also,
Yeah.
you say you think that your sister took it worse. How did you know that? Did she talk to you about it at all when it happened, or you just could see it on her?
No, it's just, I think, because she was 13 and, she's a girl, and I guess might have been closer to my mum. She
Okay.
needed that few more years, I think. And then...
The maturity, the understanding, that sort of comes with a little bit more age, doesn't it? Especially going through something so...
It's not the normal thing to do. I can't believe my mum did it. I couldn't do it. I've got a son now, and I'm not judging my mum,
No,
because
she'd
gone through, I don't know, and she, at the time she felt as if, you bring up 4 kids and maybe she just, it's a mad one, really. She does regret it, obviously, with everything that happened and stuff. But it happened, didn't it?
How's the relationship between your sister and your mum? Because you were saying, well, you said it then, isn't it? You surprised maybe, and she left after 6 months. But like, has that affected that relationship dynamic between your sister and mum?
No.
Are they quite close?
Yeah, my sister's out living with her now.
Really?
And they're
Oh,
best
gosh.
of mates. They're with each other all the time. They're
No way, I didn't realise that your sister lived in
they're
France
like
now.
flipping best mates.
Oh, that's really nice.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Really nice. No,
Yeah.
I'm happy that
She
that hasn't
does.
affected it.
She's just like their best mates, and they always were best mates. You know what I mean? They were close. That's why it was mad. But my mum, it's no one to blame, and you're responsible for your own actions. She decided to go out there and stuff. But the bloke that she was with at the time was like, I think he saw that all of us were here and stuff, and he just wanted her to herself. Not a nice guy.
Right.
Ah.
I'm assuming
Yeah.
he's not with your mum then.
No.
are
Have you been out there much? Is it
Yeah, I go out every year.
amazing?
Like when you boys go out with you boys to Hossicle, and then I'd always go see my mum.
Yeah, you'd
Yeah.
leave afterwards when
Vaguely
you...
do remember this.
And I go out every year, and Gitto's been out there every year. We got
Really?
nice holidays.
Lovely.
Gitto loves it there, and
Yeah.
so like I wish my mum could see Gitto every day, but you look at the world and what's going on and stuff like that, in Ukraine and stuff, and you just think, gosh, it's my life
These are
is
small
fine.
little problems, aren't they?
Yeah, they're small problems.
Yeah, you can look at things like that. Yeah, that's true.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that you had another brother. I didn't know you had Tristan. Is
Yeah.
it Tristan?
Yeah.
Didn't know that. I thought
Yeah.
you just had Dav, is it?
Yeah.
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 So what's the age gaps between all of you?
So there's 10 years between Tristan and Tyrion.
Wow, okay. Wow.
I'm 35, Tyrion is 32, Tristan's 42,
So he's 42.
and Dav would be 38, 39,
Wow.
39. Yeah, quite equal split, like 2 or 3 years between
Yeah.
us all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tristan was musical and, like yourself and stuff. And, he had like his own band, guitar player and stuff. And,
Was he?
Yeah, he went to do his apprenticeship in Vidos Sassoon when he was 17 and moved to Cardiff and stayed down there.
What, as like a hairstylist
Yeah,
or something? Or like,
Yeah, he's got his own salon now.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
No, good on him.
Yeah, that's good. What about your other brother, Dav? What's he up to?
Dav, Dav's like a lovable rogue, like he's very vulnerable, easily led, kind of lovely bloke. Yeah, big bloke, isn't he? And he massively into his cars and stuff, and just sort of bloody mate, just a general, just happy going guy, and like take a bit of drugs on the weekend, and and then got caught for that and went to jail.
How long did he go to jail for, if you don't mind me asking?
I think he did 2 stints of like 18 months and then another 18 months or something.
Right.
Okay.
Did
you go and visit him, or was
Yeah.
it? You did you?
Yeah.
Whereabouts
Yeah.
was that?
Swansea, and then
Ah,
he
yeah.
went to open prison down like Bristol way, I think. Yeah, Bristol way.
Okay. How was that? Like how, as in like a brother that you've grown up with, and you said you used to ride your bike together to town and everything.
Yeah, it must have been quite whoa.
And then you're sort of visiting him in prison.
Yeah, it's funny. I got loads of letters at home. I used to handwrite like massive amount of letters to him and stuff.
Right. Oh, what you used to write to each other?
Yeah. And then I used to go and see him in Swansea. But when you're so close to someone, it's like when you see them and you're figuring out if they're okay. You know what I mean? When you're so close to someone, you've grown up with them, and then I'd go and see him, and he was all right. Like he was coping. But it was hard, like, obviously, because it's that big brother, isn't it? And if anything happens, you can just go to your big brother.
Yeah.
And, you're like a unit, aren't you? You'd sort of got each other's backs and everything. And not only that, he was in jail, and it was as strong as he was. It's not going to be nice, is it?
No, of course it's not.
No, no one wants to see sort of like their family in that position or anything. If you know what I mean.
At the end of the day, right, he got made a bit of an example, because he had like recreational drugs that it wasn't nothing terrible that doesn't get done on a regular basis, probably, I imagine.
Okay.
And he's a bit of an idiot with it, and he just got done with like some pills, and then before he was inside.
Bloody hell.
It was like flipping heck.
Scary reality, that.
Yeah.
It's been hard for you, like your mum and dad, really, knowing.
Oh
that must have been tough.
Because it was such a well-respected family, and still are. We're all. My mum's a really good businesswoman. My dad, everyone loves my dad and everything, and then everyone loves us all. Like we were just like a big good family, and then we still are, obviously. And then Dav went a bit off the rails with the bloody. And then when he was inside, and then I guess it's amazing what you can get hold of when you're in jail, I guess, because he came out even worse.
Really?
Serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
Really?
You do hear a lot of that, don't you?
Yeah,
you do. Well, like, apparently it's, sort of rife in the prisons, isn't it? And you can get hold of...
Yeah.
And if, you mentioned that you went off the rails. Was there any reason why you went off the rails, or was it just when he was younger, or...?
No. So when he was inside, like, my sister was in a pretty toxic. My sister's like really good, attractive woman, and she gets a lot of attention, and my sister's amazing, like, and but she got into a bit of a toxic relationship, unfortunately, and then there's a lot going on, and she didn't tell us, and it's silly, like, if any women listen to this and sort of get abused and stuff, don't let it go on, kind of thing. Just go and speak, because if there's anything I'm against, it's that, and I would love to take anyone in if I could help them. That's like being abused and stuff. From what my sister went through, I would love to help people.
Yeah.
But then she was like being abused and didn't tell anyone and stuff, and then in the end, she managed to get out of it. Because once you're in it, I imagine it's really hard to get out of. I imagine.
I know. I hate those people just go, oh, well, surely you should just leave or whatever. Like, it cannot be that simple,
No, it's not.
But she got out of it, and then basically, I think it was the day that she ended it, the guy went out drinking, waited for her and a friend, and they were sat in the car, and he broke into the car, literally, and then put them in the back, abducted them, took them to this derelict forest, and tried to kill them both. Jesus. And my sister was kind of beaten to death, run over. She got burns from underneath a car. And then that night, I was the first to see her. Literally, I was the first to see her in Bronglais Hospital. I remember seeing her in bed, and then her head was like the same size of like a basketball. And her head was about 3 times as big, and I couldn't believe that was my sister. And then she was in... That night, then my dad obviously came like straight after. Me and my dad was sat in the room where the doctor came and he said to us, I don't know if she'll make it. Because she was anemic, and they didn't have the correct. She'd lost so much blood. They had to sort of put this
specific then.
Yeah, but in the end they gave her like I don't know if it's blood plasma, but it was like a generic, like a blood that would just do the job.
Okay.
To get her to live, basically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then from then she was in an induced coma in Morriston for 4, 5, 6 months.
Oh my God.
And then it was just talking to my sister, who was in bed, who wasn't responding.
Jesus.
It was like, I remember making her like I remember those iPods. I remember all the songs she liked, and then they advised us to talk to her loads and to put songs on and stuff. So she'd have like these songs on while she was sleeping.
Jeez.
And then slowly, then it was difficult. Obviously, she had like loads of like all the bed sores and stuff on the back of her head. I remember she'd lost all her hair and all the like bed sores. And my mum was back from France, and my dad was down there all the time. I was down there all the time. My dad was like living in kind of the hotel sort of room, and we were going down there all the time. And then my brother was obviously inside when this happened, and then I think things went from bad to worse for him then inside.
Was he found out?
Well, no. Oh yeah, he found out through like reading or it was in all the newspapers.
Of course.
It was.
But like, do you think that started his? Like you said, he declined in prison.
You know what? Right. The sad thing is, I think he said that someone said to him, "This will make you feel better," and he was. I think sorry, I don't think I must hit the point. He was like given heroin in there. To make him feel better.
Oh, right, okay. So someone was offering him for the pain.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
God.
It's just desperation then, isn't it?
Yeah.
I guess in a way as well, that he was just trying to sort of...
Well, people use drink, to do that very thing.
But isn't it sad that he went in there for taking party pills?
Yeah.
And then he came out...
addicted to...
Yeah. That's the sad thing, isn't it?
Yeah, no, really sad.
But, Dav's out now, and he's Dav again, and he's not taking drugs, and he's out in France, and he's living a better life. And
how's Tyrion?
Yeah, I was just now. I was going to ask that.
So Tyrion, I went off track there, but Tyrion. So when Tyrion came out, it was very much she had so much trauma to her brain. You cannot answer how fast the brain repairs, because every accident, incident, whatever you want to call it, is different.
Totally different, yeah.
So, she'd had brain injury. She had to learn to walk. She couldn't walk. Obviously, she was laying down, massive trauma, brain injury. She learned to walk. She had all the scars on her arms where they'd taken skin off her hip.
Yeah.
Her eye socket had collapsed. They'd had to put mesh in her eye. She'd broken her pelvis in 2 places. They didn't know if she'd ever have kids again. And she had these grafts on her arms and stuff. That's just to look at visually.
Yeah.
And then, so she couldn't remember anything for years. And then flashbacks started coming back, and then saying, "No, I'd walk in the room," and then she'd be petrified, and she started to relive everything again. But the problem is like she'd walk on the street, and then people would think she's still beautiful, Tyrion, and she'd walk, and she'd do maybe a few normal things, and people would think, "Oh, she's fine."
Yeah,
but she's unfortunately. She's going through a very difficult time at the moment, because her short-term memory's gone completely.
Right.
So she's literally just been diagnosed that she's got like dementia.
Oh no, I'm really sorry to hear that.
So she's going through a tough time at the moment, because she's struggling to remember like what she had for breakfast, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But we're trying to sort of. How can you, isn't it? But other than sort of being mega positive, that she's still alive.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
It's tough, isn't it? Like, I can't imagine how hard it is, because she's struggling now. She's thinking, because you know, to meet new people and to be with someone and stuff, if you do something nice with her, you know, she's not going to remember it, is she?
No.
But, you know, it's just finding...
But at least in that moment, you had that happy exchange of, you know, whatever, you go for a drive in France.
Yeah, exactly.
That moment is still...
Yeah, exactly.
It happened.
Yeah, and we, like, she's got loads of people that love her and stuff.
Yeah.
Of course.
Obviously.
Yeah. I hope she's got... Sounds like she does have good quality life in France with you.
Yeah,
with your mum
she's
and
safe.
stuff, you know?
Mum loves it a bit. Like, so,
yeah. Sorry to drag that back up. I didn't want to go in on that or anything.
I don't mind talking about it.
But no, thank you for sharing.
No, it's fine.
You know.
It is what it is, and it's facts. And why hide it? You know, she doesn't mind talking about it.
Okay.
You know, most people that know my brother know that, you know, what he went through, you know, is life is life, and no one's life's perfect. Like, so don't try and pretend it's perfect, and I don't try and pretend my life's perfect, and it's just, you know, crack on and just try and be a good person. Like,
thanks for being so honest about that, Griff. Yeah, no, I really appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know where to take it after that one. I mean, have you got any more questions for Griff? As in,
I did it. I'm just going to go back to cycling a little bit. I did a little bit of a Google on you, and
careful.
Talk to me. I mean, talk to me about 2016. What happened in 2016? So, like, your record was like really good.
Yeah,
like,
2016,
and then you had a lot that did not finish in 2016.
2016 was a good year for me. Probably my best year.
Not according to what I read.
The problem is...
what are you on?
I was on
Pro Cycling
Stats.
Yeah. So basically, I just joined a big team then. It was one of the biggest teams in Britain, Madison Genesis.
I remember when you joined that, actually.
Yeah. And so what Pro Cycling Stats will say is at that time then you're with a big outfit and you're getting roles then. So your role is not to finish the race. Sometimes.
What?
Your role is to do your role to a certain part in the race, and then whatever, it doesn't matter, as long as your leader's in the right place.
So to tire out the opposition.
So your job would have been done, and there was no need for you to finish. You know what?
Yeah.
This ties into another question I was going to ask you. You're obviously very competitive, right?
Yeah.
How would you do it when you're so competitive, and then you get almost like instructed, right, Griff, you've done your job now. You don't have to finish
the race.
Yeah.
This race. Or, right, Griff, today we're going to protect so-and-so, like Tom.
Yeah.
We're going to try and get Tom to win the race. How does your ego manage with that? I just mean competitively.
Tom was actually one of our best riders.
Damn it. I know Tom.
So, no, it's fine because, you know, like, we've got sponsors and stuff, and like we're in quite a high pressure environment then, actually, because you're on a big team and like all eyes are on you and stuff. And as long as you're coming out of that race with a good result, sometimes it's nice just to put it on someone else.
Right, okay.
Wow.
Okay.
You know, you do your job and it's like, yeah, you finish off, mate. And then you're like, go on, mate.
Okay, well, that's nice.
I'll pull over and have a burger.
Yeah. So I had my opportunities as well. I had one of my best results then. I came second in the Cycle Classic, which is the biggest British one-day race. So all the international fields from like Belgium, Holland, New Zealand, Spain, they all come over, and I did really well then. And believe it or not, the other two guys on the podium went on to World Tour, and I was the only guy on the podium that didn't. And yeah, they renewed me then for 2017 and gave me better money again.
Nice.
And that was my best seasons in terms of like 2016 was really good, and then 2017 also was really great, and then that's when Guitar was born, which then there was like an added element then of because it was always enough money for me to scrape by to the next week. It doesn't matter, didn't it, as long as you had money to get fuel and food and had no commitments like in terms of real proper commitments. And then when you have a kid, it's like you know, you want to, you know, secure them, don't you?
You want to provide for the
It changes
journey.
everything, I think.
Yeah.
You become the provider, then don't you have to?
Yeah.
You've got a choice, have you?
Yeah.
God, well, I'm sorry about that, Griff, because like in my naivety, I thought, oh my God, he crashed every race or something like that, or he
I would have thought
injured himself. Or,
I'm not
like,
very easily offended.
because it was like the rest of your record it's like there's maybe 3 or 4 per season or per year, but this one was quite like it was
yeah. Pro
is he
Cycling
all right?
Stats is the database for professional only races.
I see.
So I would say that 80% of my races weren't professional in terms of on that database.
Okay.
They were sort of British cycling, so you'd have to sort of dive into British cycling results.
Okay. Okay.
Because I was on British teams, and it's like if you have a massive sponsor where it's based in a country, they want you to do well in that country. Like if we were out in Belgium getting results in a massive races, they would actually rather us be at home in UK
Sure.
getting results in smaller races, because it was more of a showcase for their sponsors.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
No one would see us out there, whereas in the British scene, everyone would see us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a bit weird sometimes.
Any more? No?
Yeah, that
That's good.
answered very well, actually.
Just going back to Ironman Wales then, what goal have you got? What time have you got in your head?
I'd love to get close to 10 hours, like sub 10, if I can.
That's quick.
It's not a pro race this year, is it? So
Is it not?
No. Last year, after the bike, I just got on the tail end of the pros. I think I was ahead of one pro after the bike. And then obviously the run came and I lost loads of positions. But yeah, interestingly, this year it's the women's pro event. So
Okay.
I'll be definitely being beat by a few women. But age group wise, I could do well, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, we'll see. I actually qualified for Kona, the world champs.
On the one you did?
Yeah.
Did you?
On roll down. So I didn't get the spot, but then because the people ahead of me didn't accept, I actually got it on roll down. But I didn't accept it. It's a huge expense to go to Kona as well.
Basically
What's Kona?
it's where all the pros and
It's
age
world
group
championships.
athletes, world championships go to Hawaii.
Hawaii. I was going to say
Yeah.
Hawaii. I remember the bikes Konas.
Yeah.
That's it.
And they were always Hawaiian names sort of thing. Yeah.
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 That's like the place, isn't it?
Yeah, but now
That's
they're
the
doing
one.
it every other year. They go in
Oh, will
Nice,
they?
Kona.
Oh.
So they're having a split between Nice and Kona. So there's actually a more realistically affordable way of doing it, because you're literally looking at Hawaii, Kona costing you best part of 10 grand.
Oh, yeah.
Really.
You've got to go over there to acclimatise for like a minimum of a week.
Oh,
Do you,
my God. It's mega money, isn't
Do you
it?
want to do that one day in the future?
Not sort of gagging to do Kona. I would like to go and do it in Nice and just say I've done the world. Yeah, it'd be
That'd be
nice.
Nice
yeah.
in France as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I
Yeah.
did a quick Google. Do you know what the world record is for the full distance Ironman?
7:30.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
7:20, 7:30.
Yeah.
something.
What on earth?
I've got
Well-
no context whatsoever. Like I don't know
I'm
how.
not a cyclist, right?
I couldn't imagine doing exercise for
But it took me
7.5
But
hours.
it took me 7 hours to do the bike
Yeah.
in Ironman Wales. And
How far is that again? Just the cycle?
112 miles.
Bearing in mind,
Oh
I think the course record for the pros in Wales is like 8:40. It's like a good hour slower
Right,
than
okay.
like a
Fine, okay,
Miami.
I
I
get
think
you.
it's Miami or
It's
somewhere.
probably all flat and just like
Copenhagen.
hammer it.
Yeah.
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 Slight downhill.
But
But I just can't get my head around that.
I know.
Like the pace of these people is just absolutely crazy, isn't it?
It's like Alistair
Yeah.
Brownlee could run against, at his best he could probably have ran like Commonwealth,
Yeah.
Olympic maybe. He was that good of a runner,
Mm.
but he was a triathlete.
Right.
So it's just,
We saw him actually in the Swansea half last year.
yeah.
And he won it, but like just seeing him run past after doing the swim, after doing the bike, and it was just like, he's just an absolute machine. It's amazing. It's inspiring to watch these people. And
Yeah.
because we were so close to them as well, it was just like pelted it past on the run. It was like easy,
Wow.
gliding
Mm.
and running at a hell of a pace.
Yeah, the guy's nuts. When
Yeah.
if he's not injured, this is the thing. He trains so hard. He's like
Oh, right.
injured all the time. But yeah, no, just have a nice summer now. I love the sort of ABBA vibe with swimming in the sea and the nice
Yeah.
little community we've got. Having sort of coffee in Medina's or
Mm.
PD's as it was. and watching the sun go down with all you boys around and stuff.
Yeah, summer in
chips.
ABBA is amazing, isn't
Yeah.
it? Or it can be. Like when we had that 35-degree weather
Oh, bring it on.
last summer, even though it was only for a few days. We can swim
That
in the
was
sea
amazing, that
every
was.
day, just in your trunks.
Yeah.
Oh, give me some of that.
You
Oh,
speak
definitely.
Give me some of that now.
Do you enjoy sea swimming, Griff?
I love sea swimming.
Yeah.
I love the kind of, I've said this year, I want to go out with someone on a paddleboard and just swim as far as I can out.
Out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's like scary,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't do it on my own.
I would happily come with you, mate.
Yeah.
I love going out there.
Yeah. I just, the sea is, like, as you boys know, like, gotta have, like, the sea's the boss, isn't it?
Oh, it's tonic.
So it's always nice to have people with you.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah, I guess I get quite an eerie feeling once I go around the boys.
yeah.
I think that's half a mile, roughly, isn't it?
Yeah, 5 knot boys, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, it's deep.
Yeah, I think it's the deepness. Like
Yeah.
You get your
know when
goggles and you
got-
go down a bit, down
Yeah.
the chain,
The
and
chain, yeah.
the
Whoa.
seaweed on the
Oh,
moss
yeah,
and
yeah,
the jellyfish. And
yeah.
you're like,
Yeah.
I am nothing.
the deep blue, or like where you got like a shelf of a reef, and then you've got like a drop off, and you can see that it just goes really dark
What is down
blue.
there?
Yeah.
Or even when like when you're diving like that, or yeah, I don't know. There's something quite scary about it. It's so vast, isn't it? You know. Yeah, but I love the sea. It's amazing.
I love those mornings when it's summertime though, when you sort of just do your sea swim in the morning and you go, like saying, go for Medina breakfast or coffee. Like you've just beaten the day. You're on such a high.
Yeah.
Even if you just jump in and jump out,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You don't have to. It just
Yeah, I
cleanses
kinda-
you, doesn't it? The
It's
seawater.
nice, like how it's a weird one. It's like how when you just lie there and look, and you just feel. Sometimes if you've like got worries and stuff, it just sort of the significance of the stuff that you're worrying about. Is
You
so-
overcome each
Yeah.
little worry
Yep.
Yeah,
very
it's
easily.
like-
Gosh,
Yeah,
yeah,
cleansing.
it's nice.
It's
being in
lovely.
the sea.
no, it is great. It is great.
You happy?
Yeah, I think so.
It's great.
I've got one little question. What's your favourite cereal?
Not porridge, probably.
Before I figured out that I was allergic to dairy really bad, I used to love Crave.
Oh
yeah,
my god,
great.
dude.
Chocolate.
Chocolate
that the cro-
pillows.
Oh yeah, chocolate pillows. They do you remember Pedals de Blair in France?
Oh,
Do you remember them? They were like a
Pedals
weird
de Blair.
little. I remember me and you having a fair few bowls of them in France
Yeah.
as well.
I got a
Um,
good of mine. Raisin wheat all day
After
long.
pork day.
Yeah. Salt day.
Piss day.
Well, I don't know how far we want to go into the holidays to talk about
Yeah.
that. To be honest,
Different podcast. I think.
Griff
Just
and
that
Rich,
specific holiday.
carnage. Yeah, I remember. Do you remember Start? Kellogg's Start.
Start,
When you were a kid,
yes.
do you remember that? It was like
Yeah.
three hexagons together,
Yeah.
and it was
Yeah.
like I used to love
Yeah,
that.
that-
Med,
Very
we're going
crunchy.
round.
I love So for the healthier sort of one, I love Kellogg's Just Right.
That's a good one.
It's probably not that
That's
healthy,
good.
but every mouthful just tastes like the best.
They got like cubed. What they call it, prunes or something in it.
Yeah.
Good shout.
Naughty though. Yeah, a bowl of Crave goes down an absolute treat.
Yeah.
Favorite film, Griff?
Favourite film?
This is a hard one, isn't it?
Just so you know, Jamie
On the
Ambler
spot.
said Con Air, which is an absolute belter.
I love Con Air. Shout out
Absolute
Jamie
amazing,
Ambler.
isn't it?
I watched that Nicolas Cage film last night, The Weight of Unbearable Talent.
Oh,
You seen that? When he
No.
plays himself in it, and that other guy plays a fan of his, but he actually is in the cartel.
I have not
Okay.
seen
Yeah.
that, no.
It is insane.
I got a few. Right? So I reckon the love one would be Indecent Proposal.
Hang on.
Oh, is that
Demi Moore?
The love
90s
Demi Moore,
steamy thriller?
Robert Redford,
naughty.
and then
Good
I
one.
would go comedy, Superbad,
Great
Brilliant.
one.
and then I'd say like action, Kickboxer.
Oh my
Wow.
god.
3 belters.
Kickboxer.
There you go.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah.
Is that the one with the
That
glass?
was
Do you remember that when he's
absolutely
putting the wraps
amazing.
Yeah,
Is
in
that
the
Bloodsport?
in the glass?
Ooh.
Or am I mixing
Ooh,
it up?
right, actually.
Bloodsport?
I'm thinking of
Where
Van
he's
Damme. Van Damme, I'm
Van Damme,
thinking
yes.
of.
Like, there's
Damme.
glass and stuff, and he dips his hand in.
Is that not
Yeah.
Kickboxer? No.
I can't help
In the
thinking of Hot
Kumite.
Shots with that.
I know.
Hot
They've got
Shots,
sweets
Jelly
on it.
Babies.
Jelly babies, yeah. Yeah. 3 good choices though,
Really
Griff.
good choice. Yeah, nice.
Happy to leave it there, is it?
Sounds good.
Unless you want to add anything else, Griff, or you wanted to, you know what I mean?
Oh, you know, I've just I've opened up, been quite honest. I don't mind. I knew I was going to do that anyway. I think it's really great what you boys are doing. I think really brave of you to just go for it. It's something that we all sort of think about. Maybe it would be nice to do, but you've just gone for it, and massive respect for you, and it's just been nice to catch up. And thanks for asking me to come on.
Well, thanks for coming on, and thank you for the kind words as well.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Cheers, boys.
Hwyl
Cheers,
fawr.
Griff.
Cheers.
Cheers.